Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Matt Bernier for Weekend Wrap, taking a look back at last Saturday's Grade 1 $750,000 Delaware Handicap featuring champion Songbird. And as they break from the gate, Matt, you see Songbird on the outside. She's the number 5, and she's going to take up residence in her very normal position right up front.
Yeah, everything early on is playing out the way that we kind of anticipated. You see the 4-horse, she's very uncomfortable throwing her head around. But Songbird, we knew that she was going to be controlling speed in here, and we knew that it was going to take something pretty serious for many of these other fillies to really step up and even come close to her. And really at this point, and even down the backside, it doesn't look like anything is in doubt. And then you turn for home and things are a little bit tight.
Yeah, you're right. She had this field over a barrel on paper. And going into the race, we sort of half joking. We're saying, well, she's supposed to win this race by open lengths. What's the over-under margin? We didn't expect it would get this tight down to the wire, especially with this kind of trip. Songbird is just cruising up front. For her, a quarter mile of 24-1, a half mile and 48-1, with no pressure whatsoever, it should lead to an open lengths drubbing of this field.
Yeah, it really should, because like you say, not only is she out there by herself, but she's setting tepid fractions. This is a filly that's capable of going sub 47 when things really need to go that way. Now, I suppose maybe some of it had to do with the racetrack. Maybe she didn't handle it for one reason or another, but even at this point, she's still supposed to win for fun.
And you get the feeling that the other 4 fillies, overmatched horses, are really trying to enhance their resume by simply getting placed in a Grade 1 stakes race. You got the feeling that from the start, they're riding for second. Martini Class taking up residence in the 2-path tracking. You saw the number 4 Line of Best Fit, dart down to the inside. Now is going to get outpaced on the turn and angle out. But you get the feeling that maybe Martini Glass, if they had to do it all over again, would have went after Songbird a little sooner.
Well, especially if they see what's about to happen now, where Songbird is still cruising right now, but Martini Glass rolls up a little bit, and when Mike starts pushing on Songbird, there isn't that sort of normal acceleration that we're used to seeing. Martini Glass sticks around.
And we have to give Martini Glass a lot of credit. She is undoubtedly running her career race. Jose Ferrer is all over her here, but Songbird's class is going to prevail. She's going to dig down a little bit, and she's going to hold off a determined Martini Glass. You see Line of Best Fit drifting out a little bit. She also ran, arguably, her career best race. But Songbird wins it at odds of 1-2-20, keying a $1 exacta, which returned $2.50. The try paid $6.20. Surprisingly, there was place in show wagering for Songbird fans in the Delaware Handicap. But the question is, what did you make of this performance?
Well, I know Twitter is still fevered pitch right now talking about this effort. I think it's foolish to say that this is a filly that is overrated. I think that's just stupid. I mean, you look at what she's accomplished. I understand maybe some of the fields have not been, what we've seen from some of the other all-timers, but I think it's just foolish to say that she's overrated. I also think if you're just calling a spade, this was not what you had envisioned was going to happen. And I know a lot of people are bringing up the weight, and they're bringing up the 1.25 miles. She's still supposed to do better, in my opinion, than she did on Saturday.
But that record, as you see right there, speaks for itself. 13 of 14, 9 Grade 1 stakes wins. She's been running hard since early in her 2-year-old campaign to now. The only loss came by a nose on the grandest stage of them all, the Breeders' Cup Distaff, coming to a future first ballot Hall of Famer in Beholder. This is a remarkable filly. She only earned a 93 Beyer speed figure. I understand that people are saying, well, maybe she hasn't come back as strong at 4, but it's likely that we'll see her in the personal ensign at Saratoga on August the 26th. And even with this race, staring you in the face, it'll be the most recent thing that you see in the past performances. Isn't she just automatically the horse to beat wherever she shows up?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, she's still the horse to beat, and that's the thing. There is a difference between saying that, this performance may not have been vintage, and also saying that, well, she's a bum, she can't run anymore. Well, that's not, neither one of those, the truth is somewhere in the middle at this point, and I'm not ready to write her off and say that she's on the downturn. Keep in mind, 1.25 miles, she doesn't have to love 1.25 miles. Maybe she's just been better than everyone else she faced the 2 times she's gone that far. I think she's still the horse to beat in many instances, and it's going to take something from someone else to really step up and let's put it this way, of a little bit more caliber and talent than Martini Glass to beat her.
The rest of these fillies and mares, well, they for the most part ran really well. Miss Mo Kelly and Weep No More did not really do much. But Martini Glass and Line of Best Fit, they ran good races, but it's hard to imagine all of a sudden these horses have transformed into legitimate graded stakes horses. You get the feeling that this was their day, and they're going to be kind of overrated wherever they show up next.
Yeah, just because you're, particularly Martini Glass. I think Martini Glass to me is immediately just a horse that I would be throwing into horse watch saying, I want to play against her next time, because let's also be honest, she had a pretty good trip, all things considered. She sat just off of the pace setter, Songbird, and they weren't going fast, and she had every opportunity, and she couldn't get by her. There's really not a lot to say about this race. It was more and more about Songbird. I think she's fine. I don't think that she's totally, ready to go off to retirement just yet. But at the same time, this clearly wasn't one of her best races.
2 for 2 this year, both Grade 1 stakes wins, 13 for 14 lifetime. The only loss coming by a nose, $4.5 million in earnings. It's hard to knock that resume. Songbird, not vintage Songbird.
No.
Workmanlike Songbird. Yeah. She takes the Grade 1 Delaware Handicap at 1.25 miles with a 93 Beyer speed figure, and the personal ensign is next, perhaps, at 1.125 miles on August the 26th at the Spa.